Most couples do not break up because of one big event. They break up because of something far more dangerous, something happening so slowly they don't even see it. So, as a psychotherapist, I found that couples often begin drifting apart months or even years before either person realizes there's a problem. So, today I'm going to show you exactly how it happens and what psychology tells us about preventing it. So, most couples don't wake up one morning and decide they no longer care. So instead, they disconnect slowly through a process that is so gradual that neither person notices it until the emotional distance has become quite significant. So the truth is that relationships rarely die from one catastrophic event. Most relationships erode from hundreds of small moments, moments of disconnection, small moments of neglect, small moments where emotional needs just go unseen. And over time, those moments just accumulate, okay, over time, again, months, years, okay? Think of a relationship like a bank account. Every positive interaction is a deposit, and every moment of affection, appreciation, support, curiosity, and connection adds value, right? But every criticism, dismissal, withdrawal, resentment, and unresolved conflict becomes a withdrawal. Okay, the problem is that many couples stop making deposits without realizing it. They become busy, work becomes demanding, children arrive, stress increases, responsibilities multiply, and slowly the relationship moves from being a priority to becoming something that they assume will take care of itself. But relationships don't thrive on autopilot. You just can't push a button and it's going to fly itself. They require maintenance. Okay, one of the most common reasons couples drift apart is what psychologists call emotional disengagement. Okay, this occurs when partners stop sharing their inner worlds with each other. So, in every relationship, people are naturally curious. They ask questions, right? They share thoughts. They talk about their dreams, their hopes, their dreams, their fears, and their experiences. But years later, couples stop being curious, right? They just kind of turn inwards more. Conversations become transactional. Did you pay the bill? What time's the appointment? Can you pick up the groceries? All these tasks. Communication becomes focused on logistics rather than connection. So eventually, partners stop feeling emotionally known by each other and seen and heard. Okay, and when people stop feeling known, they begin feeling alone. Okay, even when they're sitting next to each other, even when they're lying next to each other. So another major reason couples do drift apart is unresolved resentment. Okay, when you don't work through things, right? So resentment is rarely created by one large event. It's usually created by repeated experiences where someone feels unheard, unseen, unappreciated, or unsupported. So the challenge is that many people never communicate these feelings directly. What do? They suppress them, they might minimize them, they kind of get along to, or go along to get along. Okay, they tell themselves it's not a big deal, so they can minimize it. Emotionally, those experiences, they do not disappear. They simply accumulate over time. Over time, resentment acts like emotional rust, okay? Slowly corroding trust, affection, goodwill, and of course, intimacy. And eventually, interactions become filtered through frustration rather than love, okay? Something else that often surprises people is that conflict itself is not the biggest threat to relationships, it's avoidance, okay? Healthy couples do disagree, and that's fine. Right. Healthy couples have difficult conversations. They're supposed to, right? How do you work through things? Unless you have those conversations, right? Unless you work through conflict. Healthy couples address problems. But what damages relationships is when people stop trying, okay? When they start checking out, okay? When the conversations become too exhausting, when one or both partners emotionally withdraw, when silence replaces communication, but distance grows best in silence, right? So the less couples talk about what's happening between them, the more disconnected they become over time, okay? So another factor is what psychologists call familiarity blindness, okay? This happens when we stop seeing our partner as a unique person and start seeing them as a part of the furniture of our lives, okay? Your partner is just like another end table. So, okay, we stop noticing their efforts, we stop expressing appreciation, we stop acknowledging what they do contribute. Okay, there's no praise. That's taken a back seat. So what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary. And what becomes ordinary often becomes what? Invisible. All right. So one of the most powerful interventions in relationship therapy is surprisingly simple. Okay, helping partners intentionally notice each other again. So what does that mean? Noticing strengths, noticing sacrifices, noticing acts of kindness, noticing the person behind the routine, because appreciation often rekindles connection. Okay. Now, here's the part that many people don't want to hear. Okay. And it's the fantasy aspect of relationships, but it's this: love is not enough. Love creates the opportunity for a healthy relationship, but connection is maintained through behavior, not love alone. Okay. What does that mean? It's maintained through attention, through communication, through emotional responsiveness, through making your partner feel valued and understood. Okay, strong relationships are not the result of finding the perfect person. Okay, that's part of the fantasy. They're the result of repeatedly choosing connection day after day, week after week, year after year, and decade after decade. Okay, the couples who stay emotionally close are not necessarily luckier, believe it or not. They're not necessarily even more compatible. Okay, but they simply protect the relationship from gradual disconnection. Okay, it's through that constant maintenance. Okay, that daily maintenance. Okay, they can continue investing into each other. They remain curious about each other. They address problems before resentment grows. Okay, and they never stop nurturing the emotional bond that brought them together in the first place. So if you feel distant from your partner right now, don't assume that the relationship is broken. Ask yourself a different question. Where did the connection start fading? Okay? And because identifying where the drift began is often the first step towards finding your way back in the relationship. And that's an incredibly hopeful thing and powerful thing, because what was built through connection can often be rebuilt through connection. So if this video has helped you understand relationships a bit better from a psychological perspective, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and leave your comments in as well. And we'll see you in the next one.